All right then, gather round you glorious lot. It's Davy on the mic. Yes, it's me. Calm yourselves. And welcome to Apocalypse Runway 15, where the fashion sense is gone, the food supply's gone, and the only thing more scarce than manners is a working tin opener. Before we crack into the real business, we have to do the mandatory health and safety and legal waffle, so that, in the unlikely event civilization decides to reboot tomorrow, we can say we played by the rules. So here it comes. Take notes, pretend to care and don't lick anything sharp while I talk. This show contains general discussion of survival techniques, tools, and ethical food procurement. Nothing here is a command to break the law, behave like a spanner, or upset anyone who already dislikes you. Which, for some of you, is quite a list. If you're in the UK, remember, air rifles have power limits, crossbows are legal to own, and are not toys. You can't just wander into a park firing bolts at pigeons like you're auditioning for Budget Robin Hood, the Aldi version. And no, the council will not appreciate I was testing my hunting setup as a legal argument. If you're unsure, check your local authority website. That's right, the apocalypse might be creeping in, but bureaucracy will survive nuclear winter and a plague of radioactive rabbits. Now, on to the real disclaimer. The one that matters. We aren't here for sport. We aren't here for macho posturing. We aren't here to impress strangers on the internet. This is not hunting for sport. This is to feed. We'll say this again later, because some of you forget things unless they're tattooed on the inside of your eyelids. If hunting or dispatching animals makes your stomach wobble, that's fine. Not everyone is born ready to turn a rabbit into dinner without blinking. Start small and smart. First, target practice. Then tougher targets like rodent-sized props. Only go for live small game once you've got skill, confidence and the emotional constitution not to panic and fire a bolt through your shed roof. Speaking of bolts or arrows, or any pointy thing you fling at edible biology, these are dangerous weapons. They are not toys. You are not bloody Robin Hood and you're not recreating Agincourt for the French to admire from a distance. You're using a tool capable of ending a life, so respect it like one. And because of that, here's a quick, serious reminder. If you're going to use these kinds of weapons, you must know first aid. If something goes wrong, you're first on the scene. You're the medic, know how to stop bleeding, treat a puncture, and keep someone breathing. That includes yourself. Idiocy is not a renewable resource, but blood certainly isn't either. Right, that's the sensible bit done. Now let's talk tone. Dougie Mac is about to take over. And Dougie, as you know, is the only man alive who can make jerky sound philosophical and crossbow maintenance feel like a lifestyle choice. He'll talk kit, practice, ethics and yes, how to make sure your dinner didn't suffer and isn't going to give you a week of intestinal upset. No background music, no adverts, no dramatic sound effects unless your chair squeaks and we pretend it's ambience. This is just you, us and survival chat with a side of dark humour and civilised manners. Because no matter how bad things get, we're still British, and we don't like to see anything suffer for the cooking pot. Right then, that's my bit done. I'll be back at the end for the golden rule of 3. You know the drill. But for now, Dougie Mac, step up. Show them how to survive with a crossbow, a cup of tea, and more dignity than the average apocalypse movie extras.
You're listening to Armageddon's Runway, survival fashion for the end of the world. Practical, tactical, and just a little bit sarcastic.
Thank you, Davey. Greetings, listeners, and welcome to another Armageddon's Runway. Today, I'll be covering a topic that I feel is an important one, and close to my heart, no messing around, and to act with respect, right? Dougie Mac here, and it's good to see you're still vertical and listening. If you've come for glamour, you've come to the wrong place. If you come for practical ways to keep a pot of something warm on the go, pull up a log and shut up for 10 minutes. Quickly, 2 things up front so nobody gets cocky. First, this is not hunting for sport, this is to feed. I'll say it again later because some of you need repetition like a kettle needs water. We do this because a belly full of something sensible is better than an Instagram post and a carcass left to rot. Second, safety and practice. If the idea of killing something makes your stomach flip, good. Start somewhere comfortable. Target practice on soft things. Cuddly toys, stuffed dummies, whatever you got that won't scream. Then move to tougher targets like rat-sized dummies, and only when you're confident move on to live small game. That's not cowardice, that's common sense, and it keeps you from making an arse of yourself and anyone you're with. Now the kit. A crossbow is not a toy. Repeat after me, not a toy. It will not politely ask for permission before doing something nasty. You're not bloody Robin Hood. You're not staging Agincourt. You are a person using a tool that will cut a life short if misused. So treat it like the serious, potentially lethal device it is. Learn to maintain your weapon. If you don't look after it, it won't look after you. Strings, rails, bolts, heads. Give them a clean, give them oil and wax, give them a look over before you trust them with a heartbeat. Practice. Hold, aim, breathe, and dry fire on safe gear if that's what you must. Get comfortable at realistic distances, drill the basics until they're boring. Boring means reliable. And because you'll be first on the scene if something goes wrong, know first aid. Know how to stop bleeding. Know how to stabilize a puncture. If you can't do basic trauma control, get trained now. If you're out in the sticks with nothing but ego and a pocket knife, you've already lost the argument with reality. We'll keep the dispatch and field processing talk for later. I want you to be properly set up before we get into the messy parts. For now, kit, training, maintenance, and the right headspace. That's Survival 101 dressed in a crossbow sling. Right? That's the warm-up. And in the next chunk, I'll run through the crossbow types, what to use for what, and the small practical tweaks that make the difference between a clean job and a week of sorry and apologies. Stay sharp, keep your hands steady, and don't be a prat about it. Alright, kit talk. Let's clear the air straight away. You don't need a flamboyant medieval siege engine strapped to your back like you're auditioning for a Netflix reboot of King Arthur the emo years. Most of you just need something simple, reliable, and that won't fold like cheap furniture the moment it rains, which in Britain means Tuesday through forever. Recurve crossbow. A recurve bow is like a reliable old farmer. Doesn't say much, doesn't try to impress you, just gets on with the job and expects you to do the same. Less to go wrong. Easier to maintain in the field. Strings and parts are more forgiving. Slightly noisier than compounds. Nothing dramatic, we're not launching boulders. Perfect for small game, survival situations, and people who don't want to bring a manual the size of a Bible just to replace a string. Compound crossbow. The compound. All cams, cables, wheels, and the kind of attitude you normally see on boy racers and middle-aged men buying convertibles during a midlife crisis. Powerful, quiet, flatter trajectory, excellent accuracy, but more fiddly, more things to maintain, and if something snaps, good luck bodging it with fishing line and elastic. If you're out in the hills or the woods long-term, go recurve. If you're at home, well-stocked, and like the engineering challenge, compound's fine. Just remember, it's not the bow that makes the hunter. It's the patience, the practice, and whether you can sit still longer than the animal can think about running. And yes, small game hunters in Wales, Scotland, Cumbria, you already know the wind here has mood swings like an ex with your Netflix password. So practice in weather, not just in your garage feeling heroic. Ammo, bolts, short little pieces of business that don't ask permission and don't apologize afterwards. Keep them straight, keep the head sharp, and if you're reusing them, check the shaft and the fletchings before you load. Bent bolt, throw it out. I don't care if you paid a tenner for it or it looks mostly alright. Mostly alright is how people lose fingers and hit shed doors. And before anyone asks, no, we're not shooting metal practice heads at living things. That's not skill, that's cruelty, and we don't do that here. All game deserves respect, large or small. Clean, quick, humane, always. We'll get into shot placement later, once we've earned it. Mindset moment. Look, You don't get good at this because you bought a fancy toy. You get good because you behave like a grown adult and actually train. Calm breathing, controlled shot, patience. A hunter isn't someone who fires a bolt into the hedge and hopes dinner falls out. A hunter is someone who waits, studies the target, ensures one shot means one end, and treats the responsibility seriously. Because, and here's where people get uncomfortable, you're taking a life for food. That deserves respect. And in Britain, we don't leave anything suffering. That's not toughness, that's laziness. We do it right, or we don't do it at all. Right? That's enough romance about limbs, pulleys, and pointy sticks. Next up, we'll get into positioning and posture, realistic practice routines, and why the rabbit is never where you think it is when you're hungry. But first, breathe, have a sip of tea, and remember, you chose the quiet weapon, so learn the quiet patience that goes with it. Right, hands off your ego, hands on your kit. This is the part where you become competent rather than ornamental. If you want a reliable shot, start from the ground up. Your stance matters more than your bow. Feet, shoulder width, 1 foot slightly forward. If you're shooting from ambush or kneeling, balance is not optional. Knees, soft, not locked. Brittle knees make brittle decisions. Hips and shoulders, squarish to the target. Less torque, more repeatability. Head, keep it steady. Don't be the sort of prat who keeps bobbing about like a wind-up toy. Breath, inhale, settle, exhale half, hold the last fraction, fire. Practice that breathing until it's boring. Boring equals reliable. Remember, moving targets are forgiving only in movies. Practice with a stable, repeatable routine so your mind does the small stuff automatically. Aiming and trigger discipline. Crossbows and air rifles demand the same respect. Aim like you mean it. Align that sight, don't guess. Focus on a spot, not a vague thereabouts. Wait for a clear window. Don't rush because your stomach growls. Hunger is a poor coach. Trigger discipline. Don't ride the trigger. Press, don't yank. Squeeze like you're being polite to a door handle. Practical practice routines. What to do day by day. You can't improve by hoping. You improve by doing the boring drills. Daily micro sessions, 10 to 15 minutes. 5 slow, blank draws with focus on form, no arrows or bolts. Simulate, check, correct. 20 dry fires on a safe rig. If your bow manufacturer allows, check first. If not allowed, perform the motion without firing. 15 aimed shots at a close target. 10 to 15 meters for crossbow small game practice. Aim for a 6-inch grouping. Move on when you can do that in 10 successive shots. Weekly session, 1 to 2 hours. Vary distances, 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. Small game rarely stands still at 30 meters for long, but you should be able to place a humane shot at each distance. Simulate stress drill. After a short run in place or a quick physical task, settle and fire. Because in the real world, you're not always rested. Maintenance check at the end of the session. Monthly, full gear inspection and deeper maintenance. Strings, rails, cams, bolts, fletchings. Practice shot placement on realistic targets, vitals area on a game silhouette. Repetition here equals a clean kill later. Training progression reminder, say it with me, cuddly toys, rat-sized targets, confident live small game. Always. Maintenance checklist, simple, practical. If you don't look after it, it won't look after you. Keep it short and get it done. Before each session, visual check, any cracks, frays, dents. If yes, don't shoot. Bolts, straight, fletchings intact, heads fixed tight. Bent, bin it. String, no frays, proper wax applied recently. If it looks sad, replace it. After each session, wipe down rails and metal with a dry cloth. Light lubrication where the manufacturer says, rail lube, not Vaseline on the wrong bits. Store in a dry, cool place. Damp ruins strings faster than anything. Monthly deep care. Replace strings per manufacturer interval or if wear shows. Check cams/cables, compound, tension and wear. Tighten screws. Check scope mounts. And look for hairline cracks in the stock. Spare parts to always have. Extra string, a couple of bolts, a small multi-tool, rail lube, and a bit of wax. Simple, not flashy. First aid. Quick, practical reminders. Not a lesson, but absolutely essential. Because you will be first on the scene if something goes wrong. Always carry a small trauma kit, pressure dressings, sterile gauze, gloves, and a tourniquet. If you don't know how to use a tourniquet, get trained. Stop the bleeding first, direct pressure, then pressure dressing. Only use a tourniquet if bleeding is life-threatening and direct pressure fails. For puncture wounds, don't pull objects out in the field unless you know what you're doing. Stabilize, apply pressure around the object, and get to help. Shock risk. Keep the injured warm and calm. Shock is real. Know the emergency numbers and route to the nearest help. Even in a collapse, routes matter. We'll repeat this. If you're using pointy things, you must know first aid. Being macho about it won't help a bleeding mate. Mindset and ethics, practical dignity. You're doing this to feed people. That's a heavy responsibility. One shot, one end. Don't take pot shots and hope for luck. Use what you take. Meat, offal, skins if you must. Nothing wasted unless it's unsafe. Respect animals and fellow humans. This isn't a sport. It's a necessity done with dignity. Right? You got your kit, you practiced, and you've stopped imagining yourself as medieval cinema. Good. Now, we're going to make your efforts count. Hunting isn't sprinting after something with hype. It's slow, silent patience and thinking like the thing you want to eat. If that sounds poetic, good. Poetry keeps you fed. 1. Reading the ground, tracking signs and patterns. Animals are predictably selfish. They want shelter, food, and to avoid being someone else's dinner. Learn their routes. Sign spotting, droppings, tracks, overturned turf, nibbled shoots. These are breadcrumbs, not treasure maps. Learn what fresh looks like. Darker droppings, softer prints. Old signs are nostalgia. Habit trails, animals like consistency. Pathways between cover and food are where the work happens. If you find a worn track through a hedgerow, that's worth watching, not trampling. Feeding signs, half-chewed bulbs, snapped twigs, stripped bark, tells you where they feed and at what height. Small game tends to nibble low. Rabbits and hares use grassy edges. Birds leave different clues. Water points. Even small puddles or ditches attract wildlife. In dry spells, animals funnel to the water. That's predictable. Use it. Don't abuse it. Remember, respect. Don't obliterate a trail trying to confirm your hunch. Observe from a distance. Be the invisible tree that nobody notices. 2. Wind, scent, and sound, the 3 betrayers. Everything smells terrible to animals. Wind will blow your intentions back at you if you're not careful. Wind position. Always approach downwind of the likely route. Not because it's clever, but because if you stink, they'll vanish before you've tied your bootlaces. A slight breeze the wrong way is the enemy. Scent discipline, shower, deodorant, hard soap, all fine before you go. In the field, avoid perfumes or strong-smelling detergents on your kit. Keep clothes as neutral as you can. Store food sealed. You don't want your lunch announcing you. Sound discipline, metal clinks, dry leaves, coughs, all noise. Move slowly. Silence is a weapon. That doesn't mean be silent like a mime. It means controlled, deliberate movements. Practice moving without announcing your presence. 3. Concealment and ambush positioning. Be a shadow, not a statue. You're trying to be part of the scenery. If they notice you, you've lost before you begin. Choose cover over concealment. Shelter keeps you comfortable on long waits and keeps you dry. Concealment hides you. Prefer a hedge with a thick base or a low wall. Don't sit on top of a ridge where you silhouette yourself against the sky. Set up with a clear shooting lane. You don't want a surprise twig to ruin a good idea. Sit so you have a clean line, but don't make that line obvious from 50 paces. Natural breaks in canopy or a gap in scrub are ideal. Minimize movement. Small motions show up like neon signs. Practice slow heel adjustments and breath control. Patience beats speed. Sometimes the best action is to breathe and wait. You will get cold, bored, and angry. That's normal. Don't move until you see the right opportunity. 4. Shot selection theory. Aim to end suffering, not to prove a point. We're not here to win medals. We're here to cause the least suffering possible and to secure food. The vitals principle: aim for the area where a single, well-placed shot will do the job cleanly. We're not drawing diagrams here, but think central mass. Not the leg, not the rump. You want one decisive outcome. Distance judgment. Know your realistic effective range. If you practice at 15 meters and you're comfortable there, that's your comfort zone. Don't fling a maybe shot at 40 meters because you saw someone on the internet do it once. Angle matters. Broadside offers the best window to vitals. Quartering shots can be effective, but require skill. Headshots are risky unless you're expert. The margin for error is tiny and the consequences are ugly. When to pass: if the animal is moving erratically, surrounded by obstacles, or you don't have a clear shot, don't take it. Passing is a responsible decision. Not every chance is your chance. Note, that's theory, not a how-to for harm. It's ethical reasoning. Aim to minimize suffering and to be certain of success before you act. 5. Approaches and exits. Don't become the prat. After a shot, don't go charging like you've won a game show. Have a plan. Immediate pause. After a shot, wait. Bolts can wound, and animals will run. Give it a moment to collapse or show direction. Rushing can spook the animal farther and ruin recovery. Mark your position. If you need to move, note landmarks. Use a ribbon or a small marker. Subtle, not a flare. You'll thank yourself later. Safe recovery. When you follow up, approach cautiously, look for signs of life, and be sure the animal is dead before getting close. If it's wounded and still alive, be prepared for a humane finish. Or, if that's beyond you, know to get help. We're not into prolonged suffering. Field safety checks. Check your surroundings for other people, livestock, or hazards before you move. You're responsible for what happens next. 6. Ethics and conservation. Leave the place better than you found it. You're part of a system, act like it. Take only what you need. Overharvesting is stupid. Keep populations sustainable. Even in collapse, resources matter. Record and learn. Note what worked, what failed, distances, wind conditions. Knowledge is your non-perishable asset. Respect other people's land. If it's not yours, obtain permission. Bartering for access is better than trespassing and more useful than arguments. Waste not. Plan to use as much as possible of what you take. If you can't use it safely, don't take it. 7. Quick safety and legal reminders, short and firm. Check local laws before you even think about a plan. Ignorance is no defense, and it makes your life harder. Reiterate, this is not for sport. This is to feed. Keep that front and center. First aid, you will be first on scene if things go wrong. Have a trauma kit and basic training. Don't be the person who thinks adrenaline fixes everything. Right? That's the tactical chunk. It's not fancy, it's not dramatic, it's quiet and effective, like good hunting should be. We'll save the explicit field dispatch procedure and the hands-on processing walkthrough for later in the show, where you'll be ready for it and we won't be talking hypotheticals. Urban air rifle survival. Right, now we leave the quiet hedgerows and mossy Wales valleys for the other wilderness. Town centers, forgotten allotments, abandoned gardens, and those weird edges of civilization where brambles fight shopping trolleys to the death, because sometimes you can't head for the hills. Sometimes you're stuck behind a spar and a row of broken recycling bins, wondering if pigeons taste as bad as they smell. First thing, and I genuinely can't stress this enough, urban foraging is a thinking man's game. Everyone else panics and raids the pasta aisle. You go out the back and look where food actually grows and walks. The tool? Air rifle. We're not talking Call of Duty. We're talking UK legal air rifles, sub 12 foot-pound, quiet, discreet, accurate. Why? Legal if owned and used properly. Quiet? Doesn't wake the neighborhood or attract the wrong attention. Cheap pellets, easy carry, low drama. Perfect for very small game and pest species when appropriate and permitted. And before anyone gets bright ideas, no. You cannot shoot in public spaces, parks, or near roads. If you're thinking about plinking pigeons off the Tesco roof, stop listening, sell your kit, and take up knitting. Use your brain and check your local laws. If you don't have land permission, you don't shoot. Full stop. Survival mindset does not mean be a muppet. Targets. The edible urban wildlife menu. We're not trophy hunting. We're trying to not starve. Legally and ethically, in a genuine survival setting, you'd think small. Wood pigeon. Excellent meat, surprisingly good roasted or breast pan fried. Rabbits where permitted, and not next door's prize pet rabbit. Rats only if desperate, and only after you've done your disease research. Last ditch is last ditch, not Tuesday supper. Squirrels, and yes, say what you like, but in a pinch they cook up fine. And let's be frank, if it's glowing, foaming, or looks like it's had a rough night in Chernobyl, skip it and eat dandelions instead. Stealth and setup, urban style. You can't crawl behind a pine log in Glasgow city centre, so your cover looks different. Overgrown corners of community gardens. Abandoned allotments, behind sheds, compost heaps, hidden fence lines, old industrial edges where nature's taken over, blend in, hoodie up, neutral colours, slow movements, look like someone fixing a bike, not someone auditioning for a post-collapse action film, and for the love of sanity, no camo face paint in suburbia. You'll end up on Facebook faster than you can say neighbourhood watch. Shot placement and humane thinking. Same rule as always, clean kill is a good kill. We don't do suffering, we are British. Head, heart, lung area only, clean angles only. If it's not certain, you don't take it. Check your surroundings before taking a shot. You don't want next doors. Little ass walking into your killing area now, do you? If that's hard for you, good means you've still got a conscience. Final urban thought. Urban food gathering isn't drama. It's discipline plus awareness plus blending in. Walk like you belong. Move like nothing's urgent. Wait like patience is your superpower. A calm hunter eats. A frantic hunter goes viral on TikTok and starves. Tea break. Then we'll move to the next stage. What to do once you've actually brought something down. The humane finish, the legality, the responsibility, the dignity. And yes, we'll keep it respectful. We don't do cruelty here. We feed, we don't play. Right? You've done the work. You tracked, you waited, you aimed like a grown adult with patience left in your soul, and the shot landed clean. Now comes the part that separates the daydreamers from the people who actually feed themselves with dignity. First rule, pause and breathe. Don't leap up like a spaniel who's seen a sandwich. Take a breath, hold your position, let the scene settle. A clean shot normally means the animal drops quickly. But even then, life has its moments. Stay steady. Composure now is as important as accuracy before. The walk up, move calm, move sure. This is not the moment for adrenaline bravado. Approach from behind the head if safe. Keep your weapon ready until you've confirmed. Eyes on the body, breathing, twitching, movement. We don't rush. Rushing causes mistakes, and mistakes cause suffering. Confirming it's over. We do this like adults, quiet, certain, respectful, signs of life. If the animal is still breathing or conscious, you finish humanely, no hesitation, no cruelty, no will it sort itself, nonsense. If you don't know how to perform a humane dispatch method appropriate to the species, you train before you hunt. That's the rule. If you haven't prepared for this moment, you had no business taking the shot. And let's be clear, this is a general ethical principle reminder, not a tutorial on method. A second reminder, our code. Say it again quietly to yourself, because this is where it matters most. This is not hunting for sport. This is to feed. A clean kill is a good kill. We don't like seeing anything suffer. We're British, for heaven's sake. We do this right, or we don't do it. Field respect. A moment here, not a ceremony, but acknowledgement. You took a life to sustain yours. That deserves awareness, not bravado. Some of us take a second, steady our breath, and say thank you in our own quiet way. No one sees it, no one needs to. But it's the sign you remember you're human. Immediate field prep, first stage only. We're not gutting or skinning here on air. We covered the philosophy, not the how-to. But the first actions are simple and clean. Safe your weapon, retrieve your bolt pellet if appropriate, check surroundings again, remove the animal from open sight, cover or wrap to maintain hygiene and dignity, keep the site undisturbed, no mess, no drama. Good hunters leave the ground looking like they were never there. Bad ones leave scenes that get laws changed and neighbors nervous. Carry out. Get your animal home or to your base quietly and quickly. There's time for processing, preserving, and cooking later. Clean environment, proper tools, proper respect. Don't stand around taking selfies like a Burke. This isn't social media, it's sustenance. Final mindset. You did this to eat, to live, to provide, not to show off, not to inflate ego, not because you enjoy the taking, but because you respect the responsibility. That's the difference between a fool with a weapon and a provider with a purpose. right? That's it from me on this part of the journey. You trained, you acted, you honored the life, and you took responsibility. That's survival, and done right. It's also dignity. Kettle on, wipe your kit down. Tomorrow we practice again. Till our next run along the runway, slarng avar.
That concludes this transmission of Armageddon's Runway. May your socks stay dry, your boots stay strong, and your neighbors stay distracted.
Well then, if you're still here, still breathing and still thinking rather than pretending, you've just walked through something proper with us. That wasn't Hollywood survival nonsense. That wasn't macho chest thumping. That was the real thing. Quiet, calm, respectful, and done for the right reasons. We don't take life lightly round here. We don't strut about like action heroes. We do what we must with dignity, gratitude, and a steady hand, and when it's done, we say thank you. If more people understood that, the world would be a gentler place. Now, before someone gets excited and tries to run into the woods wearing camouflage pyjamas and bravado, remember this. Preparation is skill, skill is discipline, and discipline means knowing when not to act. If today's talk taught you anything, let it be this. You don't become a hunter by firing a bow. You become one by carrying the responsibility of the life you take. Right then, enough philosophy. The kettle's shouting at me and the biscuits are in danger. This has been Armageddon's Runway, a PPFM production for those who believe in self-reliance, quiet competence and not being a pillock when the chips are down. If you've enjoyed it, or learned something, or just didn't throw your radio out the window in despair, remember the golden rule of 3. 1. Like, if today sat right with you. 2. Share. If you know someone who'd do this with respect, not ego. 3. Subscribe. Because the world's a funny place and it's best to be prepared while we can still laugh. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and look after what feeds you. Whether it grows, walks or breathes, stay steady, stay human, and stick the kettle on. See you laters.